stable, so they're gonna call in their debt, and they're gonna freeze their loaning.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, we're starting. We're live on YouTube. I'll let the music.
Lot too. All right.
Yeah, I'll let Blog Talk get started here because they're about to go live there too. Got like
I'm getting.
20. So after the music plays, we'll go.
All right. So I can finish my fruit.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, welcome back. Anyhow, we're here again tonight with Jerry, and welcome aboard, Jerry.
How you doing there, Bill?
No, not doing too shabby. Not too shabby at all. Outside of watching what's going on in our screwed up world, huh?
I'm just finishing up my fruit cup.
That'll work.
My family, us elite Rothschilds, we eat out of our fruit cups.
Oh, there you go. I mean, that might be a Rothschild snack. Maybe flying around that little dinky helicopter,
Yeah, I mean, if people didn't see the video me and Bill made explaining how the Rothschild crash was bullshit, you need to watch it. It goes into detail. It's quite obvious how it's bullshit. And we didn't even look into it. It was just so ridiculous of a story that it wasn't worth wasting the time on. All you had to do is read the headlines and put a few things together. You'll see how we lay it out in the video. You have to be a monkey to really get lost into that one.
Yeah, I mean, didn't have to do too much looking. Just took a few looks at this and a little that, and yeah. Here we go again.
Ridiculous it is. It really is just so ridiculous, Bill. People really think that Lord Rothschild went in that really rinky-dink little tiny helicopter, and then a Cessna 152 went and the other one. Dude, it was like a remote control airplane crash. It was that slow that would have happened, which probably was because both the helicopter and the plane were probably under remote control, and they just went, "Hey, look at this. Let's have fun. Let's see them crash."
Most likely.
Yeah, think about it. When we're having our remote control car planes, we got little tiny ones. The rich, the trillionaires, they got like life-size helicopters and planes that they're gonna fly around for their remote controls.
Well, hello there. We got our first person saying hi to us. Welcome aboard. So yeah, you look at that, you look at the fact that the U.S. dollar. How many people in America know that your dollar's not even the U.S. dollar anymore? I mean, really. How many people in America know that the U.S. dollar is now owned by China?
Oh, it's just probably me and you, Bill. That's about it. It ain't gonna be much else. There's gonna be a few other people. There's people in the. What's crazy? What kills me is you have all these people on the financial markets. The financial market news and all these, whether they're YouTube channels or they're on CNBC or wherever they're on, talking about the market when any nitwit that knows anything about the market knows how the IMF switched the special drawing rights over to China a year ago. So any nitwit knows that what's going on in the market is bullshit. So if they're sitting there talking like there's ups and downs, there's gonna be a crash, this and that, and does not tell you how the U.S. dollar that the system that the world's based and backed off of the U.S. dollar has changed to China. They're lying to you. They're just sitting there bullshitting you, go along with the rest of the system.
That's what you get nowadays. I mean, really, that's what we're getting. Is lied to from every corner. You got some people. I know Kevin does this. He goes and he's looking at international news, and he's getting an international browser, and he's using a foreign browser from another country and looking at their news. Okay, trying to catch what the United States is lying about while he's doing it. And I'm sure he does. But what the thing is media in every country is lying to their people.
They are. I had a friend today. He said, he's talking about, the trouble one of his family members had with, his nephew and getting the vaccine and the problems the kid's having. And he said, he said the cattle engineering is worldwide. It's just not in America. He's in the Netherlands. What they're doing here is being done all over the world. So, if you think you can trust the news outlet in the UK or somewhere in France or in Belgium or wherever, where they even have less news outlets to control, it's even easier for them to control those news outlets, in European waters. So you're out of your mind if you think that, matter of fact, where do all these Templars and all these secret societies come from? They come from France, England, Switzerland, Malta, Belgium. Come on, people, for real. It's ridiculous. The people fall for it. You know.
Well, the thing is, I mean, I see what the person's writing here in the comments for the money, but you need to understand something. Whether if it's gold, whether if it's silver, whether if it's diamonds, rubies, doesn't matter what the material is. The only reason anything has a value on it is because we, the people, put a value on it. So, other than that, it would be worthless. Because the
Yeah.
only reason it has a value is because we put the value on it. You know what real gold and silver really is? Water and food and shelter. Them are your three major things that should be worth everything in the world. Because without shelter in the wrong climate, you're not going to make it. You're not going to live long without food, and you'll live even less longer without water.
And the elite control all those that you just they control the housing market, they control our food, and they control our water. I mean, there's few people that are lucky like me that they will, that go to the spring, and get free water that's clean.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, the thing is I don't even know how clean spring water is anymore with all the chemicals they're using
Well,
and the
yeah,
chemtrails and.
it's just getting right into our system. So I mean, that ain't perfect either. You know. So
Well, it's sad because right under everybody's nose, they took your dollar away from you, and people don't even know it. They're still using their dollar. They're still paying you the dollar, and you see them. Oh, I still got my money. I go to the store, so no, our dollar's still good. No, your dollar's backed by China. That's what people don't realize. You know,
yeah, people, but it don't matter, Billy. Maybe we can sit here all night explaining to how the money system works, the market system. And because it's not the way they've been told or how they learned in school or what they grew up understanding of it and how or what it is or what they learned on YouTube bullshit channel about, it doesn't matter. They're not going to listen. People are
no,
gonna it's I'm and I don't want to get into one of those things where I'm getting pissed at again. That's about the people just being bullshit.
no. I mean, well, the thing is there's so many lies. I
There's
mean, this thing
yeah.
about gold and silver. Gold and silver. Do we collect gold and silver? Well, you know what? I want to see you when they crash the system and you can't get no food. I want to see you go ahead and cook up that gold and silver, melt it on down, and eat it up and drink it up to survive, will you? Because I
Yeah,
think,
well, it's rare that many people even own actual gold or actual silver. They mostly own it via internet, ticket share price, your whatever you got in your cryptocurrency or however you own it via the internet, sales certificate, whatever. You know, number one, you have to have it physically, or else you're fucked. And number two, online it's just now it's the gold exchanges. Everything's being taken to the new Chinese gold exchange that they've had up for a while and doing well. They're not having a problem with it.
Well,
And
Jerry.
people forget that all that gold, all that gold that was stolen, 9/11 or from under the towers, everything else, that for the last 15 years, gold has been moving to China. And people forget there was a story out, and it's been confirmed by people that are living in the Polynesian Islands, and Malaysia and whatnot, that all the Nazi gold after World War II was taken from the Americans. People don't realize that everybody was searching for the Nazi gold. Well, that was stupid because America had it, and we had it buried in the Polynesian Islands. I forget. Where exactly. They were pretty much everywhere, tunneled under everywhere, and they recently dug it all up and brought it to fucking China. And not the worst part of it is while they were doing it, they were announcing to the American public that America was under threat by Chinese warships in the South China Sea, when it was actually the Chinese helping escort ships of gold to China. But yet everybody's like, no, World War III, it's coming. Ah! No, it wasn't. They were helping us move the freaking gold. They're thieves just like our higher up military and political people are. Here's the thieves. It doesn't stop them from stealing from each other, but they will work with each other. Now these pirates are pirates that steal from each other, but you got to understand, they live in a world where we don't matter. They're doing what they're going to do, and they're figuring out how to screw all the public, and they do what they want to do.
I like
so it's
this.
Nothing but a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I like this guy's last comment. I should go do porn before I get some before I die, before death. But this is on a serious note here. Everything Jerry said is absolutely correct, and we talked about something else. Them putting gates up on the tunnels into New York. And
yeah. And they're saying waterproof gates, and I'm looking at these gates that they're putting up in New York. Number one, that would never be able to hold the pressure, but they definitely would lock down those tunnels from being used for anybody getting into New York. Now, why would you not want people in New York? Well, the last time they had a major rush and people out for blood in New York is when the stock market crashed in what was it, 28? Somewhere around there.
Yeah, and that's just it. They if they crash, they're floating the dollar. That's what you got to understand. The dollar is being floated. It was created out of debt. You could never pay the debt back because when they started it off, and I gave a great example in a video I posted up the other day explaining currency to you. And the thing is they don't want people coming into New York because they can take these Wall Street people and fly them out to the new cities they built in China that are sitting there vacant. And now they're safe. And as far as your Bible prophecy about bringing America down, well, the Bible's a written script. It's written by the powers to be. It's not written by the magic man in the sky like you think. And I'm not going to take your belief away from you about a creator. You could call him God. You could call him your creator. Because I believe we have a creator. But at the same token, I understand that if the Bible was the so-called good book that you're claiming or you think it is, and you're in a world full of evil where evil's trying to do away with good, as you're already seeing right in your face with all the censorship and all the stuff that's going on, if that Bible is as good as you're claiming it is, they wouldn't allow it in every motel room in the United States. And you can't say, well, it's because it's the good book. No, it has nothing to do with the good book. If man would kill the own creator's child, come on, if man would kill their very own creator's child, what makes you think you wouldn't change the creator's words? Have people lost their minds?
Yeah, they have lost their mind, Bill. I mean, that's a silly question to ask.
Oh, I know. It's so in your face. Will America be destroyed? Well, I'm sure it will be. because it was planned to be destroyed. Tell them a little bit about tell them a little bit about the Jews and what they've been doing, the Khazars, what they've been doing throughout history.
Well, throughout history, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, when I studied history, when I look back into what the movements of all these people that were doing so many illegal things, and like whether it was Bill Cooper or anybody else has said, you have to know the history to control the history. Who controls the past controls the future. And let me tell you something. I started learning what they were doing, and they and how they lied about all the stories, whether it was Black Death and how it came to here or there, or the plague came here or there, or whatever they were doing. Okay, the 17 Frankish doesn't just start in 1666. It was before this that they had certain beliefs where destruction brings about their Messiah, and it's okay to do evil, and they teach their children to do evil. All right, and that it's okay to steal from non-Jews and everything else. But if you start to study the paths they've taken throughout the world, and every time they get thrown out of a place, it's not necessarily that they got thrown out. What they usually do is come into an area, and it's different things. Like the Bolsheviks, sometimes it's a forced takeover, but other times they just meander, wander into new areas. They get into a new community, and throughout the ages, whether it was a king or whatever, they get in with the king. They plunder the people. They rob, rape, pillage the land, and basically decimate the area. And then they run to a new area, and then say that past area that they decimated were after them. And I hope this is starting to make sense. They can see why when we say certain things are bullshit is because it's not just one thing that they did in the past. It's not that they just lied about one thing, in the past. This is something they do every single time throughout history. This has been going on through our history as we've known it, where these people will come in, whether it was in Spain or whether it was in Germany or whether it was in the in the Eastern Urals, wherever, whether it was done in Turkey or wherever it was, done in Greece or wherever, even in Italy. Whenever they did it and got thrown out somewhere, it wasn't that they got thrown out, it's that they plundered and raped and robbed the whole area, and then, made it look like everybody hates them, and then they move away saying that they had to move away because they were being persecuted, making the people that they abused, making their victims look like the bad guys. And throughout history, they're constantly making the victims of what they do look like the bad guy. So, in the future, what it would tell me from what they've done throughout society, how they lied about they brought the Black Plague through Europe and everywhere they went, and then, and, and they killed so many people and did this or that. It's part of their religion. Nobody traces it back to them, but you can. And what are they going to do in America? They We know they robbed the shit out of our country, left us pretty much broke as a joke, put everybody in a desperate situation where they need to cling on to whatever they have currently just to maintain their lifestyle. And they basically made it so nobody has any savings, nobody has anything extra that they can survive on to, fight for any kind of stability. They've weakened the entire country. So why would they stay? When we know it's the Federal Reserve, we know it's all these bankers and these evil people behind it. Why would they stay? They've raped and took everything they can. They've squeezed every last piece of, drop of blood out of every American. So if you go by what they've done in the past throughout history and other places in the world, they're going to exile. They're going to go somewhere else. And the rabbis are already talking about how they're moving to China, to the Asian market. They're going to move there. And then they're going to say, look, everybody in America, they hated us. They went after us. They persecuted us for being Jewish. They're going to we are their victims. We're their victims. And they're going to say, because we got mad at what they did, that they are the victims instead of us being the victims when we are the real victims.
Exactly.
And they've done this all throughout history.
And if you want to think that that may be wrong, look around yourself in today's society. I see I see people doing this very same scenario in your face every day. Somebody does harm onto somebody else, and the first thing they do is flip it upside down on his head and attack the victim, saying the victim done it to them when it's the other way around. I've seen it happen so many times where people flip everything upside down on his head to cover their own wrong and blame it back onto their victim. So what Jerry's talking about is correct. This has gone on forever, and it's still happening right now.
But they made it taboo. You can't even talk about it. They made it taboo. That you can't do it. You're being anti-Semitic or this that. So, in other words, you're not allowed to tell the truth of what's happening because they're not allowing you to tell the truth. So, how do people not get this? How do people not see through this?
That's
And
it.
this is—it's not like it's a big secret. These people have been doing this all throughout history. They just made it so nobody's allowed to talk about it. And we're not talking bad about any Jewish people or anything like that. We're just telling you what happens throughout history, exactly what happens. But people want to not believe it or deny it. Well, you know what? In some cases, like me and Bill have talked about before, maybe you deserve to be the victim of what they're going to do because you refuse to listen to the truth. And if you refuse to listen to the truth, does that make these people right? Maybe. Maybe they are right. Maybe they are right that people are, the average goyim, the non-Jewish person is too stupid to, defend themselves or too stupid to even know that even when they tell you what they're going to do, that they don't listen, so they deserve what happens to them to happen to them.
Well,
I'm not sure if I 100% disagree with them because what the heck? How have we become? I understand that they brainwash us and everything else, but how is it not something that's so obvious right in front of people's faces and they're still denying it?
that's exactly it. You look around you, and sometimes what I see, some of these people out here really probably deserve it. They
They
are
do.
just what they're called because you can't go through life denying the truth. Or, I mean, I don't tell you have to listen to what I'm saying, but go look for yourself.
Oh, they won't though. They're too lazy.
Or if you're too lazy to go look for yourself and something bad happens to you because all these people you called a nut job and dismissed them and turned your back and looked the other way, you have nobody to blame but yourself.
And when it's not even that, Bill, you know what? Here's the thing: is they're you know they don't consider themselves lazy because they take 5 minutes to look on the internet and they think that's research. They don't understand that you have to go to law libraries, that you actually have to do real research. You have to go through documents. You have to spend. I spent researching some of this stuff before I even started talking about it for over a year.
Yeah,
Digging into it. You cannot just know this just by doing 5 minutes of internet bullshit and getting only the answer that they want you to have. Maybe that's why people are so dumb in the first place because they trust so much in their Google that if it's not right there in front of their face, then why is it where they can't go any further than that? They want that instant answer. Google gives them that instant answer. But you think Google's on your side? Do you really think Google or YouTube or any of these things are on your side? They're owned by these people. Why would they give you they tell you what they're doing, but then they're not going to make it easy for you to find the truth. That way, that's the whole misdirection, misleading thing to you. They know how to fool people.
that's exactly it. And anymore, getting the truth is harder and harder to do. They run so many people off that are telling the truth. A couple people I've actually really gotten to like a whole lot would be Conspiracy Granny and Scythor.
I love them.
I mean, I don't care what people think of them. I'm with Jerry on that. I love them because they are telling you the truth. And what's even funnier is all these people want the money, the tool, the tool, the tool. He's got $100,000, and he ain't. I don't lie. The money's there. He has it. He's still trying to give it away. All you got to do is prove one victim and a false flag, and he's got a whole list of them. If you can show him one real person who really caught a bullet and died in these false flags that he's got a list of, he'll give you that $100,000. But nobody's collected the money yet because nobody could prove it. Out of all the people that come up and said, I have a friend who died in Vegas. I know a cousin. I blah 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 blah. So, well then why ain't you got the 100,000?
Yeah. Yeah, like he says, like Cythorn always says, get that, that person that had the family member to die, and you guys can split the money. Just prove it, and nobody still has been able to do it.
That's because they can't prove it because they know they're lying. Because with the society we live in, is this is what people do. They want to lie.
I've been studying like some of these MK Ultra, programs and some of this brainwashing that they've done on America, and I'm starting to learn how more and more how they put some of these mass programs in place right under people's noses without people realizing it, and it's astonishing how they did it, and it's they've done it in so many different ways, but some of the ways are so simple. They did it in so many simple ways. Take this for instance, Bill, right? Let's say you have a kid, right? Oftentimes a kid gets an appendix or some kind of problem. They have to go to the hospital, right? When they're, in teenage years or younger, right? Well, middle of the night, in these hospitals, if they're connected to the MK Ultra program or whatnot, they drug the kid. They do some quick programming. Now, that programming at a young age might be as simple as this. Um, they'll program the child that every time the parent says, go clean your room or ask them to do something, that they become very combative and throw really bizarre, bad temper tantrums, right? So now, as a parent, and the school finds out that this kid's behaving badly, you find out that the kid's behaving very odd. So what happens? You get recommended to take your kid to the local psychiatrist or psychologist, and because it's local and near their hospital that has this program going on, that psychiatrist or psychologist is going to recognize the type of behavior as one of their programs, and then they can finish programming. So right under the nose of the parent, they program the child, and the parent has no idea that these people end up growing up a programmed MK Ultra victim. Simple as that, really.
It is. Most people don't realize that these people have spent decades and decades studying human behavior and the human mind and looking for ways to program and control people. And that's what they spent hours and hours and hours and hours, and so many hours you couldn't even count it doing.
Well, yeah, and another thing too, you got to look out is you see it oftentimes, especially whether it's online or whatever. You get people that when you're trying to explain the MK Ultra program, or you're trying to explain some of the horrors of our government or whatever it may be, and then they start put up that wall. They start screaming, no, 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 only good thoughts, only positive thoughts. There's positive in the world, the positive love and light. That's actually one of the signs that they have been a victim of this program, because what they're doing is they're putting up a wall, blocking out. They're blocking out a traumatic experience that they may have gone through in their lives, and they're only allowing, they're putting, it's almost like post-traumatic stress disorder, where they're suppressing a traumatic thing that happened in event in their life that they may not even realize they went through, because they, because of the type of programming or whatnot.
Did you see his last comment there, Jerry?
Yeah.
Where he says, "Do you mean that MILF can be MK Ultra?"
MILF can be MK Ultra.
MILF.
MILF. You know what that means, right? Yeah. Why would? What does that have to do with anything? Oh my God. Why even bother? Why bother? Doesn't Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I'm like, really?
I mean, at this point, yeah, let's go along with the milk stuff because, why not enjoy life and make fun of it because everything else is just so disgusting and people are, they could care less about understanding the world.
Well,
So,
understand this. When you don't care about what happens to somebody else, don't
yeah.
expect anybody to care about something when it happens to you.
Even though I'm glad to see that Cynthia McKinney dropped Robert David Steele because I think most of us knew what kind of a person he was. But anyway, I'm glad she did. But she said something once, and it was more or less, in regards to the black community. She said, more or less it was that the quote she made was, if you, if you do not want it to happen to you, stop it when it's happening to us. You know,
That's
So
it.
here's the thing, you know, I don't want to be somehow programmed with one of their new things or chips. So we need to stop it when it's happening to other people. you know, and if you don't want it, if you think you're not programmed, you may not be, or you might be. Who knows? But the point is, if you don't want to be programmed, we need to make sure that we stop it to other people that it is happening to now. Because there's one thing I think most people cannot deny that there is something going on because of the behaviors of some of these bizarre people out there. I think they know there is some kind of an MK Ultra program, Monarch program. There is some kind of mass brainwashing program. I think we can all agree on that. So what we need to do is make sure it stops. Because if you don't want it to happen to you, it needs to stop.
And when you say, well, no, I don't care if it's somebody else because it ain't going to happen to me. Well, don't worry. One day, what you're thinking won't never happen to you is going to happen to you. And then when you're reaching out, want somebody to care to help you, guess what? There won't be nobody there. You know why? Because they were thinking just like you.
Yeah, exactly. We keep on not caring. There ain't gonna be nobody left. Who the hell is gonna be left to stop it? Really?
Exactly.
Who?
Well,
Who?
when are you going to start caring about more than yourself yourself? I mean, well, how much common sense does it tell you to take it to understand that when you care about nobody but yourself, you're doomed for failure and you're soon doomed for destruction. What if all the doctors in the world didn't care about but nobody but themselves or immediate family, and you got sick? Where would you be? You know where you'd be? Getting sicker and going to the ground earlier than you wanted to because nobody would help you. Why? Because they were just like you. They didn't care.
Well, the craziest part is you see how easy it is to get people to care about a boxing match or whatever big things going on. But when it actually comes to something essential for society, okay, whether it's food, water, whatever else, in society and each other is way more important than the entertainment. Entertainment should be on the bottom of the list of things that are important to human survival. I mean, which crazy is when people care more about the new iPhone than they do about the quality of their water. I mean, come on.
That's it.
I mean, and then when you go out and buy your kid the Xbox they've been begging for, before you buy a water filter for your house, that's insane. That's insane. It's great that you want to take care of the kids and everything, and whether they realize it or not, you spend the money on an expensive water filter that gets rid of the fluoride and makes it healthy for them is more of a loving thing to do than buying them an Xbox. And I know it's a tough thing to do because we all want to make our kids happy and make everything happy. But I mean, if you want to have your kids around for a long time and be able to have them have intelligent conversations with you when they grow up, their health and their mental, stability is a very important thing. So, why don't you turn off that, forget about the Xbox this year. Go buy a water filter for the family. They might not like you, but at least you'll know that that's actually the most loving thing you can do.
It is, but you know where they're at tonight, Jerry? They're watching a pay-per-view, ain't you? That's right, you're spending your two on a pay-per-view and you're watching Survivor Series, right? You're watching WWE, right?
I didn't even know what that was until you said WWE.
I know, I got a house full of people in front of her right now.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's tough because we have to change the way, society, works because it's working all the wrong ways, and it's working all the wrong ways. And the tough part is we're battling to get the society to work the right way when we have a government that's telling you, well, we're going to take away guns for your safety, we're going to enact all these policies for your safety, we're going to do all these things, and people believe the government more than the people that actually really want to do the natural good things for society. So, these programs that are part of the mass brainwashing program that you don't even know are part of the brainwashing program are things that you are siding with. I mean, if you really learn about how the MK Ultra program, how often it's usually done through community programs and through schooling programs and everything else, it will make you sick. I mean, people just don't realize how brainwashing works. I think they really truly think that the majority of it's done in basement hospitals, and some of it is. But the mass programming is out there in front of your face, and you don't even realize, and you're taking a part of it. Just like Bill Cooper said when he did, 25 years ago almost, he went to the Luxor when it opened up and showed everybody the symbology of the Luxor Hotel in Vegas. And then what happens? They have a shooting there on part of the New World. He was telling people Mandalay Bay and the Luxor were part of the New World Order. He did a whole video on it over 20 years ago, and people still don't get it.
Yeah.
They wanted all this other crap, And the thing that was funny is what he mentioned was how at the Luxor, and it was new at the time, that when you wanted to go on one of the rides or whatever they called them experiences there, and they were just like in Masonic initiation rides, and you had to have a ticket that you had to hold out, and a scanner would scan it. And now the person that was the attendant would not scan the ticket for you. You had to have it scanned. And what he was mentioning is how this is part of social conditioning. Getting that you used to barcode, you used to vape. I mean, just think about how nowadays, now 20 years later, how comfortable everybody's with, going to one of those things at the store to scan their own items. To just be okay with everything being coded. Everything's coded. Whether it's your food that's coded or whatever you're buying is coded, you're okay with the code, recognizing everything. So what's going to happen when you are coded? So you're just a code. You're no longer Bill or no, I'm no longer Jerry. We're just a code, and people are going to comply and socially condition themselves right into the system that they created.
You remember the prison system? You no longer got a name when you go to prison. You got a number. Well, welcome to prison.
Yeah.
Now they can just scan you. You should love that, right? I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. You think you're free, right? You think you're free because you're in America? We're the land of the free. And I fell out of my chair laughing at you. You mean where you got more laws than you could even Memorex? That are wrote in legalese that you couldn't even understand if you tried unless you went to school for it first? Where you got more prisons than any other country in the face of the earth? Where more people are locked up than any face of the earth? Where every year they're taking more of your rights away? But you call yourself free, huh?
It's to keep everybody under control. control through fear. And people don't even realize it. All this social conditioning, and they don't get it that their media lies to them. I mean, every time you see one of these news interviews about somebody that got one of these chip implants, they got an implant in their hand so they can get into a bar or they can buy something with this little chip. And they always interview people and they tell everybody how great it is that they got this chip and they can get in and get, you can pay for things and it makes everything nice and easy. Well, do you think the news media is going to interview somebody that got one and said, this thing sucks, I want it out? They're not going to interview that guy or that person. They're going to only show you how great it is. So you can be socially conditioned. Oh, look, everybody else likes it, so I must like it too. It's everybody else thinks it's cool, so I must think it's cool too. And they don't get how this is that 100% of the media, 100% is all designed to socially condition people.
It is. It's all social conditioning. That's really what it is. It's social conditioning. It's programming. You don't think you don't care, but you're being programmed yourself to go right along with, And so many people are worried about, well, I don't want to be ostracized. I don't want to be not liked. So therefore, I got to think like they think.
And people don't even realize they're being socially conditioned on a mass scale, and that these people work. It's like the idiocy of Trump taking on the New World Order, and then nobody have done any research on Trump's background.
Oh, I know. They'll listen to people like Roy Potter.
Yeah, and it's like just because Obama's past is shady and different doesn't mean that Trump's past isn't shady and fucking bizarre too.
They
I
think,
mean,
yeah, they think because he wasn't a politician first, he wasn't a senator or a congressman first, he must be the good guy, huh? Yep, he's
yeah,
the good
Obama
guy.
only has 2 years. I mean, he wasn't a pilot. He was just somebody they put in there also. They picked these people. How many times people have been told? Even people. I'll see memes where somebody says, presidents aren't elected; they're selected. Well, yeah, that's right. But then the next meme would be like, Trump's taking on the New World Order. You just said that you recognize the fact that presidents are not elected; they are selected, and now you think one of them's on your side.
You think that they would
Well,
select a good guy for you, huh? They
oh
did.
yeah,
I know what good guy they selected for him. He came right
yeah.
out of Child's Play. His name is Chucky. He's a little dow and he carries a knife and he's going to be sure and stab you.
And people don't get it. They just don't get it. As much as they know that they have no say and everything's planned, they still think that somebody that they might like, or somebody that says something right is on their side. They wouldn't be there if they were anti and anti what's going on. There's been billions of dollars that were saved and planned for this. They call these people, they call themselves the Illuminaries. They've been planning for this destruction and chaos. And people can't, you got to understand this. Got to repeat this. I'm going to repeat it 3 or 4 times. You cannot have order without first having chaos. Again, you got to understand that. They cannot have order unless they first have chaos. Right now, the world's in chaos. And they are the illuminaries that always plan to bring the order. So, don't you think that the chaos was planned? Because they can't bring their order without first having their chaos. And if it's their chaos, it's their controlled chaos because they brought the chaos and they understand it. And that's a lot easier for them to bring the order to their own chaos.
It is.
So again, they cannot have order until they have chaos first. And what part of New World Order don't you understand? The order part? Do you not understand that part? They plan on bringing order. What kind of order? I don't think anybody's going to like it, but it's going to be something that makes people just satisfied and makes them wealthier and in more control.
Yep, not you, Walter. Get that right. Not you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Them. You're not part of that club. The only part of the club you get to be is the end of the club is striking you upside the head.
Maybe you'd be part of the FEMA club.
That could be part of the FEMA club, yes. It could be a camp. Maybe they'll have Goo Goo Gaga
Yeah.
playing for you.
Well, you know that's the worst part. That's how these people do everything to get to fool everybody. You know what? They'll print some T-shirts and give people hats. Hey, come to FEMA camp. Everybody's doing it. Here's your free, and people will buy on it. They'll do it. Oh yeah, we get to go to FEMA camp. It's that's how the public is, Bill. I mean, come on. You know it. I know it. It's just it don't take much to get these idiots to do anything.
It's sort of like the little kid you took to McDonald's and got him a kid's meal. The happiest time of his life was pulling that little trinket out of the bag. It wasn't even the food.
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're an adult. The little trinket's going to be an ink pen or a T-shirt with a logo on it. Maybe they'll let you watch the football game and give you a Budweiser.
Yeah. They'll open up a bar at the FEMA camp. Everybody, go here. We're gonna have a Super Bowl special.
There you go. And all you got to do is come on in. We're going to have a special today. And don't pay attention to the barbed wire facing in as you walk in. Don't worry about them shutting the gate or the guy standing there with M16s in their hands. Don't pay any attention to them. Don't worry. But once you pass the gate, just go ahead and change your mind and see what happens to you.
It's all for your safety.
Yep, it'll be for your safety. It'll be like the Christians over in Nazi Germany. No, not the Jews, the Christians that was in them concentration camps. They didn't believe it even when they were in the concentration camp. I ain't gonna do nothing bad to us. We'll be okay. You sure will.
Yep.
You'll be okay. Yep.
So many times, there were people in Germany that said, if we saw it coming, we could have stopped it. If we saw it coming, we could have stopped it. All right. Well, it's a repeat happening now, and everybody's telling you it's coming, and nobody's stopping it.
I don't watch TV, Luke Skywalker. I haven't watched TV in years. So if you're talking about something off your brainwashing box, I don't know much about that because I don't watch the brainwashing box.
Yeah, I don't watch. I mean, every once in a while I do. I don't know if I ever told you, but I do the news test. What I'll do is, because I got the internet TV, I can go through the apps, and I'll click on like CBS News or something, and I put the stopwatch on the tablet, and as soon as the news comes on, I click it, and I see how long it takes me before I freak out and turn it off. I have not made it more than like 34 seconds. I don't even know how long. I do it like every few months just to see how long I can make it before I'm like, that's bullshit. I got to turn it off. Before I'm like, oh my God, what bullshit they're talking about. Just to see how long, and I could never make it. It's such bullshit. I mean, you cannot. I mean, if you haven't watched TV in a long time, or listened to the news in a long time, I've done the test on myself. I can't make it more than 30 seconds because it's bullshit. It really is just all bullshit.
It's like going and watching a comedy. It's not even a comedy. It's a dumb comedy. It's boring and it's sickening and disgusting.
Yeah, I can't watch any of that. I can't. Sometimes I want to sit down and chill and watch something. I can't. It sucks because the worst part is YouTube is gone. There's nothing on YouTube that you can find that is credible anymore at all. You got to think about it. And me and Bill have been kicked off. I mean, I'm kicked off right now. I'm getting to go out next week or whatever. But I'm a nobody. Why would they kick me off with very few followers, with with very few views? Why would they kick me off and allow all these other people that get really detailed into these things on?
We're not, I'm kicked off my main channel, just like Jerry is. As a matter of fact, I'm one more strike away from the channel being gone. And once it's gone, it'll be the fourth channel they've taken down, and 2 channels I'm locked out of. That's why I'm on this channel here. But pretty soon I may not even be on this channel no more because thanks to some real truthers, there's a new place to go.
Yeah.
And even if they ain't got many views, guess what? That's where the real truth needs to be. It don't need to be up here on Mossad View.
Mossad tube.
Yep, Mossad Tube. Oh, and don't worry about it if you're talking about that character that calls himself Monograph who says he's a nobody. Well, he's only a nobody to the people that are his handlers, like Jason Goodman.
Yeah. I mean, he's tied up in the deep. That was sick. And what that shit I watched from him was sick. He's a sick. How the government allows that man, who's freaking pretty well known as a serial killer, allowed to be on YouTube in people's faces in the public is insane. It is insane that they're allowing these people, all these MK Ultra sick mother effers, to do whatever they want on YouTube. And me and Bill, we get a couple hundred views, basically nothing, and we get knocked off. You got to think about that. Use your brain. Use your brain. Why are they knocking people off that have no influence, barely any influence at all, and allowing people that are saying the same type of stuff, but it's totally misdirecting you, allowing them to run them up and steal people's money and everything else? People don't. They don't use their brain. They don't. YouTube's gone. YouTube is just, it sucks because here's the thing. At least every once in a while, I used to be able to watch something and get a, be able to watch something, relax or whatever, a documentary or whatever. And now like you got to go to BitChute or 153news.net. That new place me and Bill are talking about.
Yeah.
And now I can't even watch that on my TV because I can't. YouTube I can watch on my TV. So now I can watch it on my little screen on my tablet or my phone. So to watch anything, I literally got to watch my tablet or my phone, and it sucks. I can't, because the bullshit that comes across, even on YouTube. So that basically leaves my TV with nothing. Unless I'm watching a music video or something, there's nothing out there. And
no, there's not.
But I want to change it. I'd like to see how they would get back where they have non-perverted, disgusting bullshit, and they actually have some quality stuff on, and
well, YouTube's
no
doing what this.
No more brainwashing on it.
YouTube is doing exactly what they said they were going to turn YouTube into. That when Google first got their hands on YouTube several years back, they said at that time that their goal was to turn YouTube into the newest form of TV. TV.
Yeah.
Now guess what? YouTube has sent shit to my channel more than once, trying to get me to subscribe for free 30-day trial of YouTube TV. 32 live channels of TV.
Well, and what you're going to get with that is more brainwashing because that's who they promote. They promote people in the system. It's not hard to see, whether they're part of the purple color revolution or whatever these people are subliminally putting in your head. It's not hard to figure out that that's the shit they're pushing. People got to forget, if you want to find an MK Ultra victim, just turn on the TV. And what you see is an MK Ultra victim in front of you. That's who they use in the media. That's who they use in the music industry. That's who they use in the movie industry. That's who they use in the media industry. And people are always wondering, where are these MK Ultra victims? They're right in front of your face.
They are. And that's
some
worse,
of them are making money for being a freaking brain-whacked nut job victim that goes along with the bullshit.
Yeah. Little Squirrel says serial killer, and he's talking about Monty, and he's got a question mark. The only thing I'll tell you about Monograph is this. Go do some research. Amongst your research, pay attention. Because I watched Monograph for a long time now. I've been on YouTube almost as long as he has. Maybe not as quite, but almost as long as he has. Monograph has been on YouTube since it pretty much came into existence. Now, if you go do some homework on Monograph, you'll find a lot of sick stuff. And you know what? I know for a fact he did it because he used to post the stuff up on his Monograph channel. The man is sick.
Well, all you have to do is tell people to do a little research and just research the
Umbrella Man.
Monograph and John Benet Ramsey murder. That's
Yep.
all. That's all you have to tell people. Research those two phrases together.
If you push in
You're gonna get
Monograph,
so
yep.
much stuff, you'll throw up.
If you push in Monograph and you put in the John Benet Ramsey murder and Monograph and see what you find. Then
Yeah,
after you're through doing that, push in Monograph and the Umbrella Man. Then compare it and use your head with what you're going to see and read. And then think about it. You'll really begin to see a big picture unfold in front of your face.
You know, anybody that researches Monograph, Umbrella Man, and John Benet Ramsey together and does not get sick, please don't watch this channel. Get away from here, because if that shit should make you sick real fast. I mean, I mean, just researching, I had to stop. It made me so sick. It will make you literally sick when you research this. How disgusting it is. What's going on? I don't even want to get there. I mean, it makes me just sick, Bill.
Yeah, I know. And then we'll throw up one more little red flag for you just so that you can know, like little squirrel. Okay? Pay attention to this. Okay? You know, anybody that's awake, that's doing any kind of looking for truth and speaks out about truth, you know that their channels are being taken down left and right. Left and right. They can't keep their channels up. They're getting striked down, shoved off, pushed away over and over and over. Just like Conspiracy Granny did, Cythorn did, like I've already lost 3-4 channels and I'm about ready to lose my other one. Okay? Now, pay attention. Monograph has never lost his channel one time. The man's claiming to speak truth, but somehow he's the only truther that has never lost a channel, huh?
Yeah, I don't understand how people don't understand that.
That should be a red flag. That should fly flags for you. How do you spell Monograph, huh? I can get that for you real quick. Let's hold up there. Keep them busy, Jerry.
Look at me, Damien.
Yeah, I was just sending somebody a message too. They actually wanted to share some of those pictures.
Look at me, Damien.
I had of Monograph. You know, where he dresses up as a girl and with the makeup and all that scary shit. Everybody knows Monograph is like a transvestite. I mean, it's such common knowledge, and it kills me that how the hell does he have so many viewers and not very many of them know that he's a transvestite? And that blows my mind. And if people just look up when people look up him in the John Benet Ramsey murder, they're gonna come across his pictures as transvestite, and it's sick. It's sick. You know, if any of you out there are on my Facebook or on my Twitter, remind me, and I'll put up some pictures of him so you can see him as a transvestite. It's disgusting, you know, and it's disgusting. These guys messed up. I mean, that's the crazy thing. They use all these MK Ultra victims to get and then promote them, give them expensive equipment and promote them all over YouTube. You know, and people don't get it. Listen, if you're getting recommendations and you're you know, people that you didn't even subscribe to or whatever, you know how many times I've gotten recommendations for like Jason Goodman or Monograph when I don't even subscribe to them. YouTube is not going to subscribe. They're not going to make recommendations of people that they don't want you to follow. Why would they do that? They're going to make recommendations of people they want you to follow. They're going to make recommendations of, you know, people that are going to give you disinformation, that are going to lead you in the wrong direction. They're going to do that intentionally. You know, while they're kicking me off with only, you know, 1,400 subscribers or whatever, and you know, Well, they got tens of thousands of them. They're what do you think? How do people not figure this basic shit out? It blows my mind.
Well,
Let me tell you something. You think some of this stuff to do YouTube stuff is whatever is cheap. The equipment they're using is literally most of these people are using hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment to do what they're doing. And they're making it look like they're doing it cheaply or in their basement or whatever. But no, they got to make it look good enough so that they can attract viewers. So where do you think they're getting this, computer stuff and all this equipment? They're getting it supplied to them. You know, I'm not getting anything supplied to me. I mean, I'm sure people can just be listening to this show and realize that, me and Bill don't have any fancy equipment. We're just doing what we're doing. We're just hacking everything together because that's what we got. You know.
That's the thing. But the big red flag. I mean, one of the biggest red flags I can ever tell you is real truthers are the people that are being thrown off YouTube, left and right, left and right. Okay, they don't want truth. They're suppressed down, suppressed down. I'm fucking. It's crazy. Today I go back to Zachary Hubbard's channel and had to resubscribe to him because I've been unsubscribed. I even had to go back to my main channel and resubscribe to my backup channel because I was unsubscribed there too.
Dude, I found out today I was unsubscribed to your channel.
There you go. I never unsubscribed. This stuff's happening all the time. I lose subscribers because YouTube's coming in and taking my subscribers away, and I'm having to go back and resubscribe. So if you're
but yet they recognize all these other people.
Yep. If you find yourself unsubscribed from somebody, it's YouTube. They're the ones doing it. Well, Zach's right about that. I agree with Zach totally when he says we need to take over the airwaves. I don't know how to ever get that done, but he's correct.
Yeah. Yeah, I explained to you the other night how all the satellites are run from a center over, and from Texas, and
Jerry can't do videos. Jerry's kicked out. He just told you that.
Yeah.
He can't do videos on his channel, and he don't got a backup. He's suspended by YouTube because he tells truth. That's not allowed. That's the new enemy.
Yeah, that's why people don't get it. I mean, we get suspended when they have 1,000, subscribers, and then why would they suspend people if we have really no influence? Because they're suppressing every little person that's bringing you anybody that's not controlled on YouTube. All right, and this is the easiest way to tell. Anybody that's not controlled on YouTube is going to be kicked off. Is going to be suppressed. If they're not, and they're just saying that, and then they come back the next day or the next week, they're full of shit. Because that's not how YouTube does it. YouTube when you get your second strike in 3 months, you're taken off for 2 weeks.
Exactly.
Right? And you get another strike within that 3 months, you're removed permanently. That's how YouTube works. So if it doesn't go along those lines, and they're just telling you, oh, we're getting harassment from YouTube, and they're getting warning letters and all that, it's bullshit. If it doesn't happen like what I just told you, that's not how YouTube works, and they're lying to you. So all those people that are saying, oh, we're going to lose our channel, this or that, they're full of shit. They're full of it. Unless it happens just like I said, you get 2 strikes in a matter of 3 months, you're down for 2 weeks, and you get another strike, they remove you. Simple as that.
Yep. On my main channel, I'm on strike 2. I get one more strike, it's over with. Okay, and I'll tell you what, I got my backup channel for however long, but once they take me out again, I've got where I'm going. And that's where I'll be. I won't be on YouTube no more.
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste my time on YouTube anymore. Not only that, Bill, is what I'm starting to realize, because there are so many people on YouTube, and they're not really awake, and they don't understand this stuff. I rather like the people that are on like the True Truth channels, like whether they're on BitChute or they're over on 153 News. At least those people, for a fact that are watching you, and maybe not as many, they know what the fuck's up.
Yeah,
they know
awake.
what's going on.
They're awake. They know what's going on, and they're about real truth. They're not about hiding the truth. They're not going to bullshit you. They're not going to lie. They're going to give you 100% factual truth. I don't
And
lie.
yeah. I think people, I think they're changing the name of 153 News to, I think, was it Clipboard or something like, or I forgot, whatever it is. But
I think it's clipboard now.
yeah, something like that. But you can still go to 153news.net, and every person that's on there, you're not going to see all the fancy videos, but every person that is on there is a truther. It was made up of people that are truthers in the truther community, and they're blocking on all the shows.
They're tired of their bullshit
on
from
there
over
next
here.
Week. Me and Bill are both going to be. We talked to the people that run it. We're both going to be on there next week, and it's a community of just truth. So this is all people that have gotten taken down. From YouTube and stuff like that. And if people want to get the real shit, you're going to go to 153news.net, and you're not going to get any shill. And you'd be surprised because you'll come across, oh, whatever happened to that one person, you'll be on 153news.net and be like, oh, there they are. You'll find out that that's where they went, because Cythorn and a couple other people put together, truthers like me and a few other people that are actually really, ones that are 100%, the real deal, and we're putting a channel together. We're putting a website. So I mean, this is a great thing. The only problem is they're having problems with the website, so we can't even upload anything right now because, of course, we're going to get hacked and everything else. But at
somebody
least
might
when
have
it is
overloaded.
you'll be able to get good videos.
Somebody might have overloaded them.
Yeah, you.
There's just a possibility of that.
There's a possibility Bill broke 153 News. Possibility Bill broke the website, but besides that, people get some good videos there. There's some great ones, like the one Cythorn did where he exposed Jason Biggs from
yes, from
Alex Jones
InfoWars.
show.
Yep.
He exposed him right in his face, got right in his face, and Biggs had to run away. Couldn't even handle the truth.
Oh no, Biggs couldn't handle the truth. He offered him $100,000 too.
I did. He pissed them off. All those Alex Jones people. People don't realize that when you work for Alex Jones, they all have to sign a non-disclosure agreement. So they can't talk about Sandy Hook. They can't talk about certain things, even when they leave. And usually when they leave, they're working through their independent part of the Alex Jones consortium, and they're still doing it. And so it looks like that, for people that are starting to believe Alex Jones was full of crap. Oh, well, Jason Biggs was real truth. He fought Alex Jones.
That's
no, he's still
Cythorn.
working for Alex Jones.
Yep. Who's the guy with 100,000? Cythorn.
Yeah, Cythorn and Conspiracy Granny. We'll get the website out there for you. Bill, maybe you can clip it into the description when they upload this video, and then people can go right to the website.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, you don't need to do that, but when the video's over and it uploads, you can probably add it on and make it nice and easy. And and people just go to the description, click on the website, and you can read everything about it. And there's over 30 false flags that are listed that were, if anybody could prove one person died in one of those, over 30 false flags, you can get the $100,000. It's been challenged in court for them to prove that they have the money. They have the money in gold and silver. They've been able to prove that the money's there, and that they have a whole legal documentation that people can claim the $100,000. But we know that's not going to happen. But it's great that it's out there because it kind of proves that this shit is bullshit. Nobody's willing to even take it. If it was so easy to take, then how come nobody's taking it?
That's exactly it. There's the site you might want to go to.
Sandy Hook's one of them. How many times has it been proven not one child died? Even in the registry of death, there's no deaths, child deaths that year in Sandy Hook. No, even in the FBI database, there's no murders in Sandy Hook. You know, what I mean, just how many times? The problem is with these false flags, they're not entering in the data, so they're not even saying that these people are dead. You know, they're telling you they're allowed to tell you in the media that these people died. That's part of the Smith-Mundt Act. That they're allowed to propagandize the American people and lie to you. But when it comes to the actual documentation, legal documentation, it's not there. And people don't understand that. The documentation is not there. And, whether you believe Sandy Hook was a false flag or not, you have to believe that no kids died there because there is no proof that any kids died. And that's just like the rest of these false flags that he listed. Any of them that he listed, I can guarantee you they've been checked out and there's no proof that there's anybody that died at it.
That's it. Yeah, I gave him the links already, Jerry. They're in there. I even gave him Cy Thor's website where he's offering $100,000.
Yeah, check it out.
You can go look for yourself.
You know, and that's why he got kicked off YouTube. Him and Conspiracy Granny. The reason why you can't find their stuff on YouTube anymore because they get kicked off every other time they get on. You know, I mean, Sidethorn is the exact example of what we consider boots on the ground. You know, me or Bill don't live near where a lot of these false flags go on. But Sidethorn's down in Texas where they've had a lot of false flags, and he's gone to them and gotten these people's faces. You can watch him if you go on 153news.net. He's got this stuff, and you can watch him where he gets in these people's faces that are going, putting on these false flags, and and that's exactly what we need because he's calling these people out, making it more difficult for them to pull them off.
Oh yeah, and I like that, and that's why, even when Jerry and I were talking about boots on the ground, we need people, like Sidethorn is. I mean, he's a great example. That guy that left his motel room up there in Vegas during the night of the shooting and got kicked out of his motel for not going back to his room and wound up and going to backside of Hooters and in front of Hooters. That was a great example of boots on the ground. And that's what people need to be doing. You got cameras everywhere nowadays. You got a smartphone in your hand, you got yourself a little video camera recorder in your hand. If something happens wrong where you're at, go do it, man. Fire up your camera and go.
Yeah.
Because then you can actually catch the real truth instead of the propaganda. And then be more like Sidethorn and don't be afraid to call them out.
You got to. You got to call. Here's the thing: is these people actually, people are scared to call people out when they're involved in this stuff. But it's quite funny when you start to call some of these people out. Whether I've done it on the phone and everything else, you watch how fast they run and their behavior flips. They flip. They have this whole mental flip. They get angry. They get everything else, but they know there's nothing they can really say, and they can't back themselves out of it. And they run. They run scared. So people should not be scared of calling them out because it's the people that you're calling out that end up being the most scared. And it's fun to watch how they get scared of what you have to say because it's true. Remember, the only thing they can do is sit there and lie to you, and there's very few of them that will just can hang lying to your face for too long. Most of them start freaking out and running. So all you have to do is have enough truth in your back pocket to throw at them, and they will run. So you can't be scared of any of these people out.
They'll get mad at first. They'll start cussing at you and screaming at you. They might even threaten you. But if you keep going, they'll haul ass. They'll leave.
Oh yeah, they run. They're scared of the truth. They're scared of the truth. You remember, it's just like the saying, when you're shining light on this shit, when you're shining the light on the lies and the bullshit and the evilness, it scampers. It's like a cockroach. It runs away. It's looking to hide. So don't be afraid to shine a light on the lie. And in that light, make sure it's some truth. Because let me tell you something, it just scampers and hides. It does not like to face the truth because
No.
they got nothing. Because you got to remember, when you got truth, they can lie to you, but then they have to start backing up their lies. And when it's a lie, it's hard to back up because then they have to make up shit, which means they have to think of bullshit. And then if they say something, screw up their lie and it reveals the truth. So they have no choice but to run.
And that's what they do. They'll run.
Yeah.
They're not going to argue. They're not going to stay arguing with you because they got no way of backing anything up. Why do you think they can't collect 100,000? Oh, believe me, they want to collect that 100,000. There's not a doubt in my mind they want to collect it, but they can't, and they know they can't. So it pisses them off.
Yeah, that's the great thing about that $100,000 reward because you know, you got these greedy crisis actors, these greedy people that are involved in these things, greedy whatever, because they had to be greedy to get involved in these things because that's, you know, how they get controlled with the tool, with the money. So they would love to have that money because they're greedy bastards. And when you put it in their face and, you know, they want it, but there's nothing they can do to get it, it pisses them off because their lie has made it so they can't get it, you know?
That's it.
That's a great thing, man. I love it. I love that $100,000 reward because here's the thing, you know, it's you know the people that are in the truth community. We all know that they're not going to be able to ever claim it. Nobody's going to ever be able to claim it because it's all bullshit. But it's the whole point of it is we need to continue to shove things like this in people's face. You know, so that it wakes other people up to see that these people are nothing but lying pieces of crap. You know, you got to call them out. And that's the you know the reason why so much of this is going on is because so many people are scared to confront these people and get in their face and call them out. So when you complain about these things being done, we have only us to blame ourselves for not doing enough to call these people out and say, "What the hell? You're a lying bastard." You know, every time there, you know, there, I wish I lived near a false flag that happened. Because trust me, you can bet your ass I'll be there in a heartbeat to sit there and freaking call people out. I love to because I love watching these people run like little cockroaches because that's what they are. They're little cockroaches. That's all they're gonna do when you freaking you shove some truth in their face. They're just gonna run right into the dark, hide when they're little anywhere they can try and find comfort. And comfort to them is not being seen.
And they will. They'll hide and they'll hide and they'll hide. And they'll run and they'll run and they'll run. See, the problem with YouTube is the fact that YouTube is full of people that are sound asleep, people that don't care, and shields. People play to keep you in the dark, to keep you from knowing the real truth. Oh, there's been a few people who has actually claimed to know victims in Vegas.
Oh, there's always. I mean, how many times I think there's so many people out there that heard my brother, my cousin, somebody died that they knew. It's always the same story. It's the same bullshit. That scam gets put out there on the internet big time every time one of these happen. They try to build up sympathy for something that did not happen. It's all part of the scam.
You know
And
what?
you notice after a while, you don't hear it. It's only at the beginning of when these false flags happen is when you hear my cousin, my brother, my uncle, my whatever died at one of these things. You know, once they've fizzled out for a while, you don't hear that anymore. It's always at the beginning of these false flags.
Mm-hmm.
They got the routine down, Bill. And the routine, they know what they're doing. They know how they do it. They know how they can get people to fall for it. They know how they can get people to feel sympathy. They love playing the female and the male, baby, the young child or whatever card. You know, they love to, find ways to strike emotion. But how many times is it going to take where you can see almost every single false flag has a gay crisis actor, and where you're gonna start to realize that that's who the MK Ultra victims. Before again, just like I said, there's a higher rate of MK Ultra victims in the gay community. It's because they need um, they need a victim to have had a trauma at a young age. And one of the best ways to give a child a trauma at a young age is to rape them. And then what happens usually to children that get raped at young ages? They grow up and they become gay. I mean, that's just that's sociology. That happens. That's just a process that's happened in our society. And it's when it goes back to these uh, to gay people that are involved with brain control. This goes back throughout the Jesuits and everything else. They learned at a over time that they rape children or have politicians rape children at young ages. They get a 2-for-1. They get to control the politician, and they also get a trauma that was caused in a child at a young age that they can start brainwashing. And that's how it's done. That's why you see so many. So when you're talking about severe MK Ultra or Monarch programming, there's a lot more in the gay community, the LGBT community, than there are in the straight community. It's not a racist or biased thing or anything else. It's just a fact. I mean, that's what's done. It's sad that it's done like that, but it is done like that. And the problem is more people need to be made aware of it, and they're not listening because I would like to stop it so that kids don't get raped and then end up in the MK Ultra Monarch program or whatever kind of program they're calling it these days. It'd make so much more sense to stop it so this doesn't happen in the future so kids don't get hurt anymore. But the problem is people are not fully understanding it. They're yelling pedophile when they don't understand it's not just the pedophile, it's also the people that created the pedophile and also the victim that's part of all of this. And it's not just that we got to stop the pedophiles; we got to stop the handlers, the people in the CIA that put these people in the position, that kids that in the position they were put in. Because you got to understand is all right. They not only did they do that, but they, you know, when a generation goes by, next thing you know, that monarch programmed person may have done well in school or whatever. Now, next thing you know, they make him a politician. Well, he's still under monarch programming. So now you got a gay politician that's under monarch program, and that's they're going to do whatever they're told. you know.
That's exactly it. The other thing that annoys the hell out of me is in our society, you hear it all the time how you care about the children. You care about the children. The children's our future. Got to care about the children. But that's all a fake. It's a fraud. Because the majority of the people in the country don't even care about their children.
No.
They claim to, but when it comes push to shove, they actually don't.
Well, I mean, if they cared, they would start listening and studying and learning how this stuff happens. Because the only way we can stop it is by understanding how this whole system works, and not just going, "Oh no, there's a pedophile." Well, that's great that we're pointing out the pedophiles and wanting to take them down, but that's not all of it. There's a whole system involved in this, and a whole sick satanical ritual abuse that's involved with MK Ultra, Monarch program, whatever you want to call it these days, and everything else. And people aren't understanding how it's all done. So yeah, well, what's going to happen? You take down all the pedophiles, you still have all these kids that were raped that are under the monarch programming, and then they're going to be the future politicians. So it's just going to happen all over again.
And don't think it's always just guys that are pedophiles because that's not true at all.
No, it's women big time. Everybody talk about Nancy Pelosi's a pedophile. I believe it because you know what? All these politicians they didn't get to where they got, just because of luck or their own money or anything else. They had other political or governmental interests that made sure they got to where they got. They wouldn't be where they got unless they weren't being controlled.
Well,
You know,
it's been proven over and over and over. Okay? Throughout history, the media has always pushed Pedophiles are men, 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 men. But that's a lie because you have almost as many women pedophiles as you do men. But the problem is they spent time covering up the woman, covering up the woman, covering up the woman, covering for her, and not pushing it through the media, not pushing it through the media. So of course it's all centered on the guy because that's what they've created it to do.
And it's tough because you know that these horrible things are going on out there, and you know it's great that we want to stop the pedophiles. People are really still not understanding the full scope of the problem. You know, it's a huge problem, and you know, and the kids come first. We got to stop them from being hurt. So the pedophiles do have to go away. But you don't understand. People don't understand that. You know, it's people in the military, people in the CIA that are putting these children in these positions. You know, it's sickening. It's the churches. It's everywhere. It is everywhere. They made this country so sick and so polluted with disgusting human behavior. And these idiots call themselves illuminaries, like they're enlightened. Let me tell you something. If that's part of enlightenment, count me out. Because I you know, I don't see how betterment or bettering somebody's self is it could involve child rape. That's not bettering anything. You know, I'm pretty sure that you know an enlightened or a bettered person or man, there can't be child rape involved in that. You know, that's worsening your soul. That's worsening your person. That's the opposite of true enlightenment. Is being part of this.
Yeah,
But
well,
people all over the place are falling for all these new age ideas that they're putting out there. You know.
that's part of the social conditioning. You know, they put sex education in the school system for a reason. And that's gotten way out of hand and disgusting too. But you don't see anybody doing anything to stop it.
No, nobody stops saying. You know. I think sometimes, in some cases, I'm actually happy I don't have any kids because I would have a fit. I'd never let them near in school. That would make me sick. I mean, they're so full of shit, bullshit, you know. And they're, you know, it's sad, you know. And I don't want to count everybody out because my sister's a teacher, and I was talking to her, and you know, and she, you know, I was bitching about the way the system works in this, and she said, "Well, Jerry, you know, some teachers, there are teachers out there that do understand that what's going on, and you know, when they're not being watched, they're trying to do the right thing, and there are, you know, so I don't want to blame, but there are good people like my sister, and you know, other teachers and you know, educators out there that are trying to, you know, reverse the process of the programming, but they're up against a, you know, a hard fight because the system, because when it goes to the levels of the principals and the, you know, and the education districts and everything else, those people are on board with the program, 100%. No ifs, ands, or buts. You just got to watch Iserby there. What's her name?
Charlotte Isby.
Charlotte Isby. She'll tell you about the education system real quick. And that's actually one good video. I think it's still on YouTube that you can watch, and you can actually learn a little bit about the education system. And it's something I think a lot of people are going to want to take a look at before that ends up disappearing too. You know, if they go on YouTube, look up Charlotte Iserby, and she has some older interviews that are a few years old, and or more than a few years old. But you know, she just shoots straight from the hip and tells you what you know what's happening or what happened way back then. And you know the thing is, people are just coming to terms with what was going on 40 years ago. So I don't think people really even fully understand what's going on today 100%. Even I myself can't fully understand it and grasp it because it's so hard to really find information about the current situation of our education system and other things right now. It's really hard. Trust me, I work with my sister trying to find some of these things, and it's not easy. The current things are so discombobulated and compartmentalized that it's really tough to see how they're doing what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You got here's the crazy thing: you got Betsy DeVos, Trump's education secretary. All right, she's married uh, to the DeVos family that owns Amway, which is known as a pyramid scheme company. And they're strongly tied to both the MK Ultra program in Michigan and Scientology. So it's a joke when you see her fighting against the systems coming core and everything else when they're actually the people that want to put it in place. So they're not fighting against this stuff when you see it on TV. It's just a show. And people don't get it that it's all just a show. The people that are trying to fight against it or make it look like they're fighting against it are the same people trying to put it in place.
That's exactly it too. And then you believe this person's trying to fight it against it, and they're not.
Just like Donald Trump, you see so much symbolism, New World Order symbolism, all over that guy's life, all over his buildings, all over everything. And he's supposedly fighting against the New World Order. When in actuality, if you read the symbolism, it means that he is wanting the New World Order to happen. So again, another case of the people pretending to fight against something when they're actually the ones that want to put it in place. And people, they still think George Soros is going to jail with Hillary and Putin's going to bust him. And
Yeah, right.
you know, people's reality is slipping away. It's slipping away. I almost think that some of these people out there are, because we wonder how a lot of these people are falling back asleep. Well, I think it's a mistake for us to wonder because we kind of see the answer. The people they're watching on YouTube, the things that they're reading and trusting, even though they look like they're the opposite of something. So that would make it someone to assume that it's the truth, and they believe it. Well, they don't realize that's some of that new programming, getting people to follow along. You follow this direction right down the line, and I've watched it. Some of these videos, especially with monographs, you could see the MK Ultra um, um, videos that he puts in there in the background. And all the symbolism and stuff is all MK Ultra stuff. They're using MK Ultra's programming in their videos. And we're wondering how people are falling back asleep. I think it's actually obvious. I think they're just putting it right back in people's faces, and people are falling for it.
Yeah.
They're actually choosing the MK Ultra programming.
When I'm sure they gave it new names, and so we say MK Ultra, but you got to be careful because they're really good about renaming programs that they claim to have shut down. They never shut it down. They give it a new name and move on.
Yeah, I mean it's already beyond the Monarch program, but I mean, like you said, we don't know what names they got for it now. It could be program X213899 2. We don't know.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. The only thing is, I think we oftentimes will say Monarch or MK Ultra just because of the fact that it's what it's most widely known as, that type of thing.
Yeah, neurologistical programming.
Neuro-linguistic programming. That's what it's. They even offer some local communities offer training in neuro-linguistic programming. Are you kidding me? That's insane. That's part of the MK Ultra program. I mean, how many times have you heard where people caught Donald Trump using neuro-linguistics programming? Well, duh. That's MK Ultra. That's the Monarch Pro. That's it. So when you see anything that has neuro-linguistic programming, whether they want to teach it to you or whatever, you need to stay away from it big time. Don't even study it because that is part of the program. whether you're studying it or receiving it or giving it as part of the programming. Anybody that teaches neurolinguistic programming is an MK Ultra victim. It doesn't matter if it's for the betterment of man or whatever, anything else. Listen, you have a problem, being yourself, and you need MK Ultra to be a better person, which is neurolinguistics programming or whatever. That's pretty pathetic because all you have to do is find your inner strength, and that's it. You don't need anybody else's help to do it. You can find it yourself, and if you need the help of somebody else, then you want to be a slave. That's asking to be a slave.
It really is.
All right, I'm uploaded so I can finally check out the chat. I haven't even seen the chat yet on here. Oh, a whole bunch of chat.
There you go. Go ahead and keep track of it.
Yeah.
Hey,
all right. What's up with Pom Pom Princess 4?
Keep the show going a minute, Jerry. I need to go use the bathroom.
What is going on with Mr. William? Okay, I'm trying to. Fine. Yeah, that's Mr. William there. You're sounding like a little bit like MK Ultra, or are you just joking around? Yeah, yeah. It's a sick world, people. We'll even get MK Ultra victims to show up here. And that's part of their job. They don't realize that part of their programming is to look for things like this and to dissuade, to disinfo, to push people away from it. So it's kind of a pathetic thing, and it's not their fault. You got to understand that these people are victims. They're complete victims, and it's sad because most of these victims, as we've said in the MK Ultra program before, do not know that they are victims. And the problem is with all these victims out there, how are we going to get them all help? Because when 1993 came along and they had to testify in the Congress about the MK Ultra program, what did they say? There were somewhere around 2 million victims. What do you think that number is up to today? Because we know they didn't stop the program, and they're out there. And one of the biggest things of the MK Ultra programming is to program all these people that they haven't been programmed. Anything can be programming at that. No, not anything can be programming. There's the way that programming works. And this is if you read the social conditioning or the social engineering reports or anything else like that. The way the programming works is on a scale. It's a scale 1 to 5. People that are 1s and 2 are the hardest to program. People that are a 5 are the easiest to program. Marilyn Monroe was known as a 5. She was basically somebody they were able to program to, so easily that they were able to put her in her split when they put somebody in the split, that's in their monitor type thing, and they're done. So it's crazy. And if you think that some of your movie stars are not MK Ultra, yeah, it's gonna be a rare chance that you get one of them that's not. Most of them are. You know. So that's the situation with that, Bill.
I'm back. I think I had one too many soda pops before the show.
Yeah, well, Little Squirrel talk about military families. Military families, yeah, big time. When you're talking about the MK Ultra program was pushed through people in the military like you wouldn't believe. And one of the biggest examples of that is, believe it or not, the people that the two brothers that formed Insane Clown Posse (ICP). They're part of a military family that was out of Fort Bragg. Fort Bragg was one of the biggest MK Ultra military bases out there. They were both put through the programming, and that's why you have so many subliminal messages in their songs, and why they created the type of community that they did. It was designed to push drugs throughout the country and everything else. When you talk about people that go to the ICP concerts and everything else, the majority of them there are MK Ultra, Monarch, or whatever you want to call them. But if you have any children out there, you need to rip every CD that they have ICP and just tear it up, crush it, and do not allow them to go to any of their concerts. It is the MK Ultra program. So that stuff's out there. And through the military families, it's story after story how these military officers have their children put through the program and everything else. So it ends up becoming a generational thing because then those kids join the military and then they're through the. So it's just a slippery cycle of chaotic bullshit.
Military is dangerous to begin with because these people sign their life over, literally sign their body and life over to the military when they sign that contract to go in. And they've used military throughout history for experimenting on as well.
You got to remember, I mean, just think about the basic training, the way they break down everybody mentally and everything else. That's a whole programming thing in itself.
It is. People don't stop and think about that. What do you think boot camp's about? It's about conditioning you. It's about programming you. It's not about making you stronger. Yeah, that's only one little part of it. The rest of it's about conditioning you to turn you into the perfect order follower.
There's very few people in the military that escaped some of the programming, that the military offers. Very few. I mean, that's where it's the heaviest. Think about it. They got people going out there in the military. They're going over killing people, thinking they're fighting for their country. I mean, you're fighting for the bankers, right? Well, I'd like to know what war has been protecting America. Name one war that we've ever, any foreign war. Name one foreign war that we had to have that's keeping us safe.
They can't because they're not.
I don't ever remember a whole bunch of Vietnamese trying to take over America. You remember any people from Vietnam trying to take us over, Bill?
Nope, never happened.
No, I still to this day I'm never had a fear of the Vietnamese breaking in the door with their communism. I mean, I never feared any people from Iraq coming into my house, taking over anything. Never feared any Afghanis coming into my house, blowing up shit. It's all bullshit. So all these people that joined the military were conned. And it's sad because I hate to see so many military men that really wanted to do the right thing and believe that they did kill themselves and everything else. But we need to comfort them, but we also got to make them understand that they're a part of something that was wrong. Because if we keep on cheering them on and saying what they did is right, they're gonna, the military is gonna continue to use people to kill innocent people. So
that's exactly, I see so many times people make posts up on Facebook or wherever else on the net saying how we got to support our troops. No, I don't have to support my troops. I don't support evil. I don't support lying to young kids as they come out of high school, taking them into the military and using them for your own selfish gain like what we do. Send them over there and tell them somebody's a terrorist, have them pointing a gun and killing and blowing up buildings and killing children, men and women, all of them. They've done nothing to nobody. Just so we can go in and steal their resources. We're no better than, Go ahead.
The best way you can support the troops is by, telling them the truth and hoping they, showing them what the truth is, and then being there for them when they realize it.
Yeah.
But if they can't realize the truth and want to believe that what they've done is good and, refuse to accept it, they made their evil bed. They took part in the evil, and it's not your responsibility to support them. They made the choice for evil. may have been a wrong choice and a deceived choice. But when people choose to hurt, maim, kill innocent people, that was their choice, even if it was a deceptive. They got led into that situation deceptively. They need to be responsible for that evil that they took part in. Okay, but like it's just like Mark Passio says, it's the order followers are even worse than the order givers. So as much as you know, I almost believe that people that are in the military actually owe more to the people of America and getting things fixed straight, and they owe more to the people of the world if they took part in killing innocent people. They need to make amends for their choice, even if it was a choice that they didn't realize they were making. They still need to make amends for what they did. You can't just kill innocent people and not be held responsible. Because if we allow that to go on continually, these wars are going to go on continually over and over and over again because people be willing to just continue to go out there and kill innocent people for a lie they've been told. So, as much as I don't want to see ever, anybody in the military, kill themselves or hurt themselves or anything else like that, they need to start to wake up and realize that they did do something wrong, and they can make amends by standing up for this American country. We can use all these military people out there to fight for our country to get in. Look at Sidethorn was in the Marines. He's getting in people's faces saying this is all bullshit. There's other Marines I know that are out there that woke up and said, "Hell no, you're not doing this to my Constitution. You're not doing this to my country." And I respect that. Those are the troops that we need to support. But the ones that are still in uniform, the ones that are out there killing, if we keep on supporting them, they're going to continue to think it's okay to kill innocent people.
And they believe the lie when they go over there, and then they're killing innocent people that've done nothing to them. When if they do a military raid and they go into somebody's home and they pull everybody out of their home in the middle of the night and they're pointing their guns at these little children and the husband and the wife and whatever, and he gets pissed off and tries to protect his family and he knows he's done nothing to you, and then you wind up shooting and killing him. Why do you think America's one of the most hated countries on the face of this planet right now? Just like with Nazi Germany. Germany was the most hated country on the face of this planet. Well, guess who's the most hated now? America. And these people over in other countries, they have a right to hate you. Because ever since 9/11, you've been doing what? Invading their land, stealing their resources, killing families, entire families, children and all for a lie.
It is all for a lie.
And that's exactly it. It's all for a lie. Something that never even was true. Our military belonged at home going up to the White House and up to the Pentagon and going after the real people and going over to that country that we're not allowed to boycott.
That's people are still believing these stories. I'm not. I'm not gonna even get into it, but I guess people are still talking about Langley. Something's going on in Langley. I hardly believe it's more than a show or some kind of scam. But that would be great. It'd be great because let me tell you, even if it was one Marine that walked up to the White House and just started shooting or fucking whatever, I mean, I don't know, or a Marine that said, come on, everybody, let's get together and go down to to Capitol Hill, and we're going to take back our country. That's the troops that we should be supporting.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, Rhonda. I mean, Rhonda's talking. She might be seeing MK Ultra at work. Now, I know she works with, with social work type of stuff. I guarantee she's seeing it. She, even though she's not part of it, I'm sure that there's people that are coming through those kind of agencies constantly that are under the MK Ultra program. It might not be called that today, Rhonda, but I guarantee you have seen those type of people. When you see that crazy, weird behavior, oftentimes, it is, MK Ultra. And one of these times, Rhonda, what I'll do is, I'll message you one of these times. I'll go over some of the things you can look for in the type of people that you deal with that will help you recognize MK Ultra, because you got to be very careful with those people. You have to be very careful with those people, especially if you are not part of the program yourself. You have to be careful of what you say to these people and everything else. But I'll talk to you about that, Rhonda. I mean, because it's a whole lot to get into, and it's something you do got to watch out for.
Well, you have that, and I agree. Jerry's correct about that. You also want to stop and think about there's something that most people don't think about. Where Jerry was at, where he lost his house, is a sleeper. It's a sleeper cell. That's what they consider that town. And they have a bunch of them all over the United States. Boulder, Colorado is another one. A sleeper cell. Sleeper cell is where they use the people, the children in that town for MK Ultra.
People got to understand that this program is so secretive that, and oftentimes it's not just that the people in the town might not know what's going on. Parents, family members of the people that are going through the program don't even know that their people are in the program, that their
Yeah.
members of the family aren't even in the program. They have no clue. That's how the program is. It's not like somebody gets, somebody is going to come home, a child's going to come home as a teenager or whatever and say, I think I went through the MK Ultra program. They're not going to even know that they went through it. So they have no clue. So it's nothing that can be just put out there. So it's crazy. It's a whole crazy system. You know.
Yeah, well, that's not a bad idea what he's saying there. He drinks and he cooks and with distilled only.
Yeah, Lori cooks and Lori does the good thing. She's trying to learn everything, and she's on a good path. And it's good. Eating healthy and trying to learn the right things is a big thing.
Well, as healthy as you can eat for what you're allowed to buy in our freaked up country, huh?
Yeah, it's not easy. Listen, it's not easy being awake in 2017. Nobody ever said being awake is going to be easy. It's tough. We woke up and we see the horrors of the world, and as that veil lifted, it wasn't a pretty girl behind the veil. When they talk about the veil being lifted and everything else, we woke up and we saw behind the veil, we saw behind the curtain, and it was nothing but ugly.
Tell me about it.
And that's sometimes that's not easy, because we constantly have to hear about horrible things happening every day, and we understand what horrors and what lies and everything else, and it's nothing but deception, destruction, and evilness. So yeah, it is tough, but we also have to understand it and listen to it. We can't just say no, 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 push it all away, and only let love, light, and positive things come in our head. Because if we do that, then we'll never solve the problems of the evil. You know, so it is tough. We woke up into nothing but disgust.
It is. It
But
really is. Now,
I also think, especially when I read some of the old literature through times of enlightenment and other things, that there were people that went through these things and discussed how there's a responsibility that goes along with this. When you become aware of these things, you are responsible to stop them. You are responsible to step up to the plate and do something about it. And that's where we're lacking in this country. We have people awake, but we have very few that are willing to take the responsibility to do things like Thorne has and get in people's face and stand up and say no and call these people out. We have many people that are awake and willing to hear and learn about all these things, but very few that are willing to do something to stop it.
Yeah, that's true. They have to get to the children before 5. Jerry talked about that earlier.
Yeah. Now that's for the heavier MK Ultra program, but the mass programming they can do, at pretty much any age. Okay. They prefer, for a full program to get them full into this program to basically create a Manchurian candidate type, whether it's to cause chaos or it's to cause murder. Yeah, they need them at a young age. Now, the programming drops off 70% after the age of 5, but that doesn't mean they can't still brainwash people on a mass scale and convince people to go in this direction or that direction by just simple basic processes. So, while to get people to maybe go out there and commit murder, yeah, they need to get a hold of them before 5 o'clock, not 5 o'clock, but 5 years old. But to get people to buy in a certain way, to get people to believe certain news stories, to get people to think a certain way, doesn't have to be before 5 years old.
Yeah, that's true. Well, there's some other things I discovered. I see she was talking about YouTube. The kids pull up else and other cartoons on YouTube loaded with soft porn.
Oh yeah,
Awesome.
they've been doing that for years. I mean, look at the Disney. Disney. I mean, you look at some of that Disney stuff. There's all pornography hidden in it, and the kids don't understand it because the kids don't understand it. But that stuff is subliminally, you know, you know, uh, rendering itself into those children's minds, and they don't understand it. But that doesn't mean that it's not, still a memory in their minds.
That's
You
it.
know, it's just like the symbols. They love to use their symbols. They always use their symbols. Most people don't see them, but once we learn about them, people always say, "Oh, I see them everywhere now," and people think that they just started using them. No, these symbols have always been out there. They've been doing the same thing. It's really not gotten much worse. People are just seeing it more often since they've woken up. But these symbols mean things, and whether people understand them or not, they're still making an impact on people's brains. You know,
Well, that's it.
so you got to remember the symbology that these Masons and everybody else use is like the soft porn clips they put in the cartoons.
Well, I can tell you
The
something.
symbology is just their subliminal messages they've been using for literally thousands of years.
I tested this a while back. It's been a few years ago, but I'll tell you this right now. And I would bet you it's still up. I would lay money on it. It's probably still up. One of YouTube's guidelines is strictly no nudity. Isn't that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So here's the challenge for you. Come on to YouTube and type in things like boys or boys taking a bath or girls taking a bath. Okay? Type in different phrases for searches on YouTube, and I think you're going to get a real big surprise. YouTube is loaded with pornography, and some of that pornography would be considered child porn, and it's still on YouTube. Been there forever. It's got thousands and thousands of views, and anytime I went and looked, there's channels are still there. The stuff's still up, and it's not taken down. So ask yourself why. Oh, they kicked him out, did they? Jerry's been kicked from the show. I'm bringing him back in, people.
90 seconds.
Well, are you
All right,
back?
I'm back.
They kicked you from the show, did they?
Nah, my phone died. I plugged the wrong freaking cord in there. I plugged the crappy cord that doesn't charge properly.
Oh, there you go.
We still on, or we get clicked off?
Well, no, we're still on. YouTube's about to close out, but the live feed's still quite going.
Yeah. All right. Well,
So we're still
60
here.
seconds.
I don't care about the 60 seconds at this point.
No, but I plugged in the wrong cord and my phone just went bloop.
Hello, Rhonda. No, I was just saying that stuff about YouTube because I wanted you to be aware that YouTube is actually loaded with pornography. So while they're kicking truthers off and they're telling you you can't violate their guidelines, if you look on YouTube, you'll find out it's actually loaded with pornography, and some of the stuff you'll find would be considered child porn, right up on YouTube. I would call that entrapment myself.
I never looked it up, but then again, I'm not a pervert. I'm sure it's there though.
10 seconds.
Well, I ran into the stuff by accident because I was testing to see when I discovered all the people they're kicking off and all the stuff that was still up. And I was one of the guidelines is you can't have nudity, right? So I tested to see if there was actually nudity on YouTube. And lo and behold, if I didn't find a whole bunch of nudity, and then I found child porn, and I said, really? And then, of course, I asked it off because, you know.
And they have like a thing where I've seen a thing pop up, you must be 18 and watch this channel or whatever. And it's bullshit because, literally, I got suspended from YouTube, just so people know, for the 2 weeks for that video I did where I talked about me and my story of me and how a friend went to that movie tryout in Newtown, Connecticut. That's all it was. It was literally a 2 minute video clip talking about.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Go ahead,
me and my friend going to that casting call in Newtown, and that's all it was. And they kicked me off of YouTube for that. It didn't. I didn't mention one person's name. I didn't mention, anything about the fake shooting or anything like that. And it literally I got kicked off for that.
Yeah.
That's bullshit, Bill.
It is. It's total crap.
So I want people to think about that. I got kicked off for a video that talked about me, where it was a personal true story. All right, where a friend of mine, it wasn't just a friend of mine, it was a high school friend that we ended up being roommates after high school. That we went to a casting call. I didn't go in. He went in because the line was too long. I didn't go in. I even said that in the video. And we went because the casting call was in Newtown, Connecticut, and I said that was right as part of Sandy Hook. And I thought, don't you find that interesting that we went to a casting call in Newtown, Connecticut? They kicked me off for that, but they have all these other people that can talk about all kinds of details about all these false flags and Sandy Hook and nudity and all this other crap, and they don't even get a strike for it. And they have people constantly yelling about it, but they still don't get a strike for it. Think about it, people. Think about it.
Yeah, and that's so in your face. She said she don't know who to trust on YouTube. Who's the truther? Some of these people have 3 or 4 channels. Well, you're correct about that. You totally are. That's the reason Jerry and I was telling you about the links I shared earlier.
Yeah.
Okay. And I put them in this chat, and I don't know if she sees it. She may not. But I shared a couple of links earlier. And I'll probably maybe post up a video tomorrow and share the links with everybody so you can come to my channel tomorrow and pick up the links. But there you go. Jerry's got one of them right there.
I just put it up, 153news.net. If you want truth, that's the one channel you're going to get 0 shills on. 0.
You won't get no shills over there. You won't have to worry about that. You can get all truth.
It's been vetted. The people that are running it are some real truthers that have been kicked off of YouTube. And trust me, they know who's a shill and who's not a shill. So they're not putting up anybody that's a shill. So, there's a place you can go. And if you want to look, there's some older videos on YouTube. Like I said, I mentioned Charlotte Iserby. If you can still find her. Bill Cooper. I don't got much else than that.
Oh, it's hard, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, I can tell you another one. Wig time at Jerry. Oh.
Yeah, right. Well, when it's up, what I'm doing when I can.
Right, but you know, and then of course myself. But when our channels disappear, there's Kevin. Kevin's really about truth. Okay, but when we disappear off of YouTube this next time around, that's where you're gonna find me and Jerry.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna come back. Once I disappear from YouTube, I'm probably not gonna mess with it no more. It's too much of a waste of my time. It really is because the people that come on there and everything else. It's kind of a waste of time. Listen, I hate because a lot of people that found me from other places. I hate to say it, but I found out that some of these people that I was dealing with in the past were shills, and it sucks. Another non-shill, people think he's a shill because he knows so much, but he's not. At least from whatever I've investigated into him so far, he's not, and that's Zach Hubbard. You can always watch Zachary K. Hubbard. He'd give you some good stuff, and but I'm telling you, how many people out there? They're all bullshit. All bullshit. The Corbett report. He doesn't get as much of the good stuff as he used to. He's skipped over a lot of stuff, but he still gives you good news. You can constantly get well investigated news from the Corbett report or Corbett extras.
Yeah.
Newsbud has got good stuff, although they're trying to charge every little bit. But you also got to understand, Newsbud might be charging, but they're giving you real news. So if you got to pay $1 a month or whatever, if you really want, they produce high quality news, and you're gonna get real news. So if you have to pay that $1 a month, pay it. But don't give your money to people like Jason Goodman and all these other shills that are legitimately stealing their money. I know freaking Robert David Steele got caught stealing all that money he stole over the summer, and that's why Cynthia McKinney left him because he's nothing more than a thief hacker, just like the rest of them.
That's it. It's down to a situation where there's not very many truthers that you can trust up on YouTube anymore at all. The majority of any real truthers been kicked off. Myself, a lot of people for a long time didn't even know I existed because I started off doing dating scene topics. And they'd wonder why I did dating scene topics. Because dating scene topics and what's going on with men and women in the world go right up to the top, take you right into the political arena, take you right up to the powers that be. The division amongst men and women was created deliberately for the same reason, divide and conquer. So I
Yeah, well,
became,
keep that clean, man. We're trying. we're, I believe in free speech and all that, but we're trying to change society for the better, not trying to, dirty it up. You
yeah,
know, I'd love to have a show where we just talk about crazy, wild things, but this is not the show for that. For the TNA.
no. And because I talked about dating scene topics, it wasn't about sex. It was about the way men and women treat each other in this country. It's about how we're treating one another. It's about the breakdown of the family unit and how they've destroyed our society and destroyed our families. Because that
And
was also part of their agenda, was to destroy the family unit and break up the genders.
that's why there's so much illegal porn out there, is because they want to turn society into a depravity. They want to make society disgusting. This is part of that controlled chaos. They want to make it chaotic. They want to make it dirty and gritty and look like it needs help. They can't bring their order until they fully just make this whole country look like a disgusting piece of crap. And that's what they're doing. But my fight is that we are not disgusting pieces of crap, and that they're the ones that caused it, and they should not be allowed to cause problems just so that they can bring order to it. We should be able to develop as a good society in its own right, because just like I've said so many times in the past, if you look at these MK Ultra modern cities, whatever you want to call them, the sleeper cities, you always look at them. They have a higher rate of crime. They have a higher rate of drug abuse. They have a higher rate of rape. They have a higher rate of pedophilia. So all these cities that they've done these social experiments in are actually despicable. They've actually done worse by using these supposed social conditioning, social engineering programs for the betterment of man, that it's bullshit. Yeah,
That's it.
just like Lauren said, it's all bullshit.
It is. And I believe she's learned a lot from Jerry. Jerry's a very smart man. Jerry's very, very awake. You know, it's something Jerry and I were talking about earlier. Just that you know, Warren came up with this. He put categories to it. He says people are awake. Most people each reach level 1 or level 2 and they never get past level 1 or level 2. They get stuck right there. Then there's people like Jerry or myself who are, what, level 10, level 11? When it comes to real truth. I mean, I'm happy I met Jerry myself. I really am. Because it's hard to meet people that are real, and that are awake for real, and not full of BS. And Jerry, well, he's become like my brother, I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, Bill's my brother, right? You know, I mean, if it wasn't for Bill, and trust me, Bill found me when I was, I went through hell. When these people kicked me around, did what they did to me, I was still in shock and went through my own traumatic experience of going through this. So it was great that, Bill was around, somebody that can actually understand and, capable of understanding what fully happened. Because there's people I still haven't been able to even describe it. I haven't been able to tell people the whole story yet of what happened because it's so insane what happened to me for exposing these people. I still haven't been able to tell the whole story.
It is, no.
And it is so messed up. And, it's great that I have Bill to talk to,
Well, that's just the thing. What Jerry went through, I totally understand him. I know right where he's coming from. I had my own experiences, but nothing like Jerry's. And I knew right where he was at. Now, John, I can only tell you this. He was in a state of shock. But what they done to him helped to wake him up, too.
Oh, it woke me the hell up.
Where I woke up a whole different way. I woke up because I was frustrated and disgusted at what I seen going on in the dating scene with men and women. It just pissed me off to no end how people could treat each other that way.
All right, William's got to go, Bill.
Okay. Well, if you have a good night then, sir.
He's got to go. He is got to go. Sorry, Bill, you can't talk like that. I asked you not to.
I told him to have a good night, didn't I?
Yeah. He's got to get. I was trying to give him a chance, and he just repeatedly, over and over, I warned him like 3 or 4 times. I mean, come on now. There's women in here. And
I had to do what I had to do,
I mean, come on. I mean, I checked out his channel, everything else. He seemed okay, but freaking, I mean, come on. There's women in here, and some of the stuff that was coming out of his mouth. I'm sorry, that was just uncalled for.
Well, it is, and some of that stuff comes from maybe he's one of them guys that's been tramped over by the system and by females in society. And I did the dating scene thing, and people get trampled over for it. But I'll tell you what, men and women are both victims of this. I mean, I woke up through the dating scene topics because I was sick and disgusted watching what was happening with men and women and how they were treating each other. It's complete BS, okay? But it's also what woke me up. Because the more I dug, the deeper it went, and the more I dug, next thing I know, I was looking at NWO, and it all fit in so perfect.
Yeah.
But I was polite to him. I told him to have a nice night and all that good stuff, and then I put him out of here. Maybe he was drunk,
It had to be done because, it was just inappropriate.
So it's no accident that men and women are divided the way they are. And I stand up for men's rights, but I also stand up for women's rights, and that's what people don't understand. And sometimes it causes me a lot of controversy and hard feelings with other guys because they're so angry at women, okay? But you try to get it through their heads that the women are just as much of a victim as the men are. That we're all victims in this. And our
Yeah.
behaviors come from the social conditioning. You can't blame women no more than you can blame men. You got to
Well,
open your eyes and look for the causes.
that's what people forget. I mean, it doesn't matter how awake you are or whatnot. We all have to understand that we're all victims in this.
Exactly.
No matter who you are, we're all victim to this. So it sucks.
Well, Warren will get so frustrated with me because he's so hooked up on gender roles, okay, and biology. And I try to get it through his head. Don't you realize gender roles was created by another human being?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no, it's in your DNA.
Who is that, Laurie? Who don't you trust that's associated with Robert Steele? Are you talking about Cynthia McKinney? I know she. Here's the thing about Cynthia. I think she left. From my understanding, she's not associated with Steve Steele anymore. Once she figured out what he was up to. But like I said, so she's still, you got to keep her on arm's length too until we know she's fully not with him, or not associated with him anymore. But the way I looked at it with her is, she does say some good stuff, but she is into some of that new age shit, and she's over in India. So all those people that end up doing that are usually MK Ultra types. So
Okay.
Can MK Ultra be included in a vaccine? Well, we don't know. I mean, the new technologies out there, they can, in a vaccine, they can make such chips so small now. I don't see why not.
I would almost have to say yes to that.
Yeah, I mean, nowadays, maybe 20 years ago, no, but today with their technology, who the hell knows? I mean, that's the problem with they're so advanced in technology today that we don't know about is we really don't know what they're capable of, because we know they're capable of so much. You got to think about some of the things they've done. I mean, I'm on the page of that. There was some kind of and microwave technology used to bring down the Twin Towers. So I mean, nanoparticles. We really don't know. We know they exist. So if they're using them, that's a whole other question. But I can tell you this much. I mean, if you've got family members with a child or anything else like that, or you have your own child and they're due for a vaccine, I would do everything in the world to make sure that they don't get them. That's one thing. I had a friend today tell me that, a couple months ago, he was telling me how his nephew had to get a vaccine. And then now he's telling me how the baby's having all kinds of bizarre nightmares and, weird spasms and stuff like that. And he tried to tell his sister not to have her, get it, but she still went and got it. And now she's regretting it. So we are seeing children with some bizarre problems after they get these new vaccines. So yeah, I mean, I've heard enough about the horrors of these new vaccines that I would tell anybody that has a child that's about to get one to stay away. And I would almost insist that they do, because I mean, these things are, geez, what's going on? I mean, I don't trust any of this shit. So I can't say whether or not they're using anything in them, but all I know is I haven't heard really many good stories about them. Any of these new vaccines, I've seen too much video online of kids having spasms. That I'm hearing them, firsthand stories from people I know that I can trust, telling me about their kids having spasms and weird things happening to them after they're getting these vaccines. So yeah, vaccines are bad. That's all I got to say about that.
Well, the one thing I've said about vaccinations for years, because they want to promote to you that we have to have them to survive. And I say, well, then how did we get here now? Shouldn't we all be dead?
Well, yeah, I mean, you got to think about it. You go past these drugstores, and they have these banners and stuff and billboards out. Come in for your free vaccine and get 20% off or a free gift. So let me get this straight. They're going to give you something free that costs money. They're going to give it to you for free. And then they're going to lose money on their business, giving you discount or a free item for you to get a vaccine. How does that make any sense?
It means they're being paid to push them onto you.
Yeah, if it was something that was desirable and a good thing, they would be charging you for it.
And a big farm is pushing something on you like that, don't take it.
Don't take it. I mean, when it's going through a pharmacy, which big pharma, is all a part of. That's how they make their money, going through the pharmacies. They own the pharmacies. So if big pharma is out there giving you something for free, because we know how good these big pharma people are, I would not trust it. Big pharma might give you something free, but in 10 years is going to make you sick as hell, and then you're going to need a shitload of their product.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I see Rhonda said she removed profiles from the online dating scene. Okay, LOL. And I said, well,
Yeah.
that's probably a good thing because you're probably going to just meet a nut jobs on there anyhow.
Oh yeah, they're all nuts. And stuff. And hey, trust me, I know. Trust me, because being single at my age, at 40, where am I 42 now? I can't remember. Something like that. I meet a lot of single women, and they're going through hell. I think they're going through more hell than or men, because they're out there, and there's just as much shit men as there are women that that just have problems, whether they've gone through in life or whatever, because of the engineering and whatever it is. It's not easy, and trust me, when you got all these women out there that may actually want to meet somebody, and they've socially conditioned men to just tap it and run. What kind of opportunity do women have for a good relationship out
Oh,
there?
that's it,
They've
man.
made it horrible for both men and women.
They're
They've
teaching.
socially
Yeah,
conditioned both sides to mismatch what their wants are and their desires are, so it's all screwed up.
they don't even understand what a date is. They think a
No.
date's about putting their damn thing in a hole. I mean, they're ridiculous. A date's never been about that. It's about meeting somebody.
Yeah.
It's totally nuts. Then Jerry's right. They pushed the issue about pump and dump, pump and dump. And these freaking idiots fall for the crap, and they're running out there, hey, everything's about sex, and I was like, oh my God. And
Yeah. I mean,
I get so disgusted with it. But the problem is
yeah.
this: both genders have different issues that are very severe to both genders. But you got to remember, it comes right from the top straight down. We've all been, that's why I tell people, wake the hell up.
I
It,
did some
uh,
research on these dating apps, right? And whether it's Match or Plenty of Fish or any of these, they're all owned by this one guy, right? They're under different company names, but they're all under one guy, one Jewish guy. That's a Sabbatean Frankus, and he owns like some of these stores in the mall that you see that are pushing all these children's clothes that are making your children look like they're half naked and stuff like that. The guy's like a known pedophile, everything else. But in his whole, and he even admitted that he wants to make it so within the dating apps, he slips in the opposite gender or the same gender as the person that's looking, so that they start to think about the same gender. So these dating apps are even figuring out ways to design people to become the gender neutral. So it's all part, if you think these, as much as we don't like to blame the Zionists, we don't want to, say anything bad about the Jewish people or anything like that. And it's not the Jewish people; it's these Sabbatean Frankists, these evil mother effers that literally want to degrade society, and it's all part of a plan. I mean, you got to remember like these Epstein. I mean, how he got all his money and everything else. We're giving all this money to Israel. All right, they don't give it all to the people in Israel. What do you think they do with it? Then they use that money that we give them to run bullshit operations by companies. If they can buy the certain corporations and control certain industries, they can lead people to like certain types of clothing. They can lead them to watch certain types of things on TV. And then within that, they can degrade society by the programming that they put on or by the clothing that they want people to wear or whatever it is. Now, I'm not saying everybody has to go out and be Amish out there. I love seeing a girl in sexy clothing too. But what I'm saying is we need to have a little bit of respect for ourselves to not choose to support these Sabbatean Zionist Frankist companies. So that may include dumping all the dating apps. That may include not shopping in certain stores. Because whether they say you're not allowed to boycott a certain country or not, we need to boycott the shit out of it. And it's not just boycotting stuff that's coming out of Israel. It's boycotting stuff that's right here in America that's being run by these Sabatini and Frankus.
And it really is. It's pathetic because I've watched so much of it, I've seen so much of it, and you try to get it through people's heads, and it's like talking to a wall. And it really is. And I get fed up with it, I get frustrated with it, but I still keep fighting. It makes
and
me.
Ron is right. We forgot how to socialize, but it's not our fault. They programmed us to not socialize. We have to start figuring out ways to make efforts. It might be that you might make an extra plate of brownies or whatever, and intentionally bring it over to your neighbors just because no reason, just so you can say hi.
It
It
is.
doesn't mean that you have to sit down and have brownies with them. It just means you need to open the conversation with your neighbors and start learning how to socialize again.
You got to learn how to do that and stop being disconnected. And then you got to learn to forget, Yeah, I see this so many times, and this is one of the fights I have with Warren. Because he's so focused on the differences in genders. And I'm telling him, forget the damn differences. She's a human, you're a human. That's all you need to worry about. Well, but there's blah, 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 blah differences. And I says, what couple ever made a successful relationship focusing on each other's differences because of genders? I says, that's just ridiculous.
I guess we can call it a night, Bill.
Yeah, I think so. But hey, I appreciate everybody being here. And I will be back up here with that guy that I argue with now and again named Warren. Tomorrow night at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, I'll be here. And tomorrow night's at will be dating scene topics. Okay, so I gotta do what I gotta do, but I still fight the fight. But I thank Jerry for being here with me tonight. I always thank Jerry for being here, period. and and I thank you guys, and I'm glad to meet Rhonda and Lori. I guess that's her name up there, right? The other person.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you both being here. I really do. And then,
I'm Blues there too, so and I'm Blues.
yes, definitely to all of you people in Little Squirrel. I appreciate you guys being here. But I'll be back tomorrow night with dating scene topics. Thursday nights go to sleep night with Dwarn. And then it's Jerry and I'll be back next Sunday. But until then, people, I guess you all have a good one and good night.
Good night.